3D animated films, motion graphics, 3D modeling, and more you can make them with Blender. Blender, one of the most famous free and open source software out there. But the journey of Blender is not like what you think. Most of the 3D films, games, 3D images, animations, motion graphics, videos, and more are created by Blender. If you are good at using Blender and creating 3D models, you can start working online and get money. But why do 3D software cost money like Cinema 4D, which cost $35 a month, and Autodesk Maya, which cost $215 a month, and Blender cost nothing? Do Maya and Cinema 4D better than Blender? In this video, we will see why Blender costs nothing and still one of the most powerful 3D graphics software. But before that, click the like button, that really makes me move on. Jon Roosendaal, born on March 20, 1960, is a pioneer Dutch software developer and film producer, best known for his revolutionary contributions to 3D computer graphics. He is the original creator of Blender, the widely used open source 3D creation suite, and also developed its predecessor Traces and a ray tracer for the Amiga computer. His career has been marked by a relentless drive to make professional grade 3D tools accessible to everyone. Roosendaal studied industrial design in Eindhoven before founding Neo Geo, a 3D animation studio, in 1989. Neo Geo quickly rose prominence as the largest 3D animation studio in the Netherlands. At Neo Geo, Roosendaal was in charge of software development, and it was here that he wrote Traces and later in 1995 began developing what would become Blender, based on the tools Neo Geo had already created. Blender was designed to be an in-house solution for 3D animation, and by January 1998, a free version was released online. It soon expanded to other platforms, including Linux and FreeBSD, as Neo Geo began to decline and was partly sold. Roosendaal, along with Frank van Beek, co-founded Not a Number, NAN, in 1998 to further develop and market Blender. NAN aimed to create a free tool for interactive 3D content with commercial services and versions of the software. Although NAN attracted investment and growth in the early 2000s, the economic downturn led to its closure in early 2002. Rather than letting Blender disappear, Roosendaal launched the Blender Foundation in May 2002, a non-profit organization dedicated to continuing Blender's development. With overwhelming support from the community, he raised the necessary fund to make Blender open source, ensuring its survival and growth. Roosendaal's vision of open content and collaboration didn't stop there. He founded the Blender Institute in 2007, where he coordinates Blender's development, publishes educational resources, and leads large-scale 3D animation and game projects. Roosendaal's work has left an indelible mark on the world of 3D graphics, making high-end creative tools accessible to a global audience and championing open source collaboration. His journey from Neo Geo to Blender Foundation demonstrates his unwavering commitment and empowering creators around the world. Blender Foundation. The Blender Foundation was established in May 2002 by Jon Roosendaal as a direct response to the closure of his previous company, NAN. The foundation was created with a clear mission to ensure the continued development and availability of Blender as a primary open-source 3D creation suite. The Blender Foundation operates as a non-profit organization, relying on the support of individual donors and corporate sponsors to fund its activities. It plays a crucial role in steering Blender's development, managing community corporations, and organizing events like the Blender conferences. The foundation also oversees Blender Studio, a subscription-based platform initially launched as Blender Cloud. Blender Studio provides users with access to exclusive Blender add-ins, training courses, and a collaborative space for the Blender community. This platform supports ongoing open movie projects and offers tools for project management and assets sharing. Key corporate members of the Blender Development Fund include prominent technology companies such as Epic Games, Nvidia, Microsoft, and Apple. These partnerships help drive Blender's achievements and ensure it remains at the front of 3D graphics technology. Blender goes open source. Blender's journey to becoming an open source software began with a successful fundraising campaign led by Tom Rezondo and the Blender Foundation. In the early 2000s, after NAN closure, Blender was at risk of disappearing. Rezondo and his team launched a campaign to gather the necessary funds to release Blender under the General Public License (GPL), making it freely available to the public. This pivotal moment in Blender's history allowed the software to thrive through community cooperation and contributions. The open source model of Blender contrasts sharply with the proprietary nature of the other 3D software, which often involves significant financial investment. By being open source, Blender not only removes financial barriers, but also invites a global community of developers and artists to contribute to its ongoing improvement. This collaborative approach has led to a wealth of features and enhancements and bug fixes, driven by the needs and feedback of its diverse user base. Blender's commitment to open source principle ensures that it remains accessible and adaptable, fostering an environment where innovation can flourish. What makes Blender the best modeling software? Blender stands out as a primary 3D modeling software due to its powerful features and unique advantages, like comprehensive toolset. Blender provides an extensive array of tools for 3D modeling, including sculpting, texturing, and shading. Users have access to advanced features like multi-resolution sculpting, procedural texturing, and dynamic topology, which allow for detailed and complex model creation. Another thing that makes Blender powerful is versatile rendering engines. Blender includes multiple rendering engines, such as Cycles for high-quality ray-traced rendering and EEVEE for real-time rendering. This versatility enables users to choose the best rendering method for their specific needs, whether for detailed visual effects or quick previews. Grease Pencil. This invention tool allows for 2D animation and drawing directly within a 3D space. It bridges the gap between traditional 2D and 3D animation, providing artists with unique creative possibilities. Modular workflow. Blender's nonlinear workflow supports various aspects of 3D creation, from modeling and texturing to animation and compositing. This modular approach allows users to seamlessly integrate different stages of their projects. Another feature that makes Blender the best 3D software is open source flexibility. As an open source software, Blender can be customized and extended by users. The community-driven development model means that users can access and modify the source code, create custom add-ins, and contribute to the software's ongoing evolution. Extensive add-ins and extensions. Blender supports a wide range of add-ins and extensions that enhance its functionality. Notable add-ins available through Blender Studio include CloudRig for rigging, Blender Kitsu for project management, and Shot Builder for organizing scenes. Cross-platform compatibility is another feature that makes Blender powerful. Blender is available on multiple platforms including Windows, macOS, and Linux. This cross-platform support ensures that users can work on their projects regardless of their operating system. Active community and support. The Blender community is large and active, providing a wealth of source tutorials and forums where users can seek help and share knowledge. This vibrant community contributes to Blender's growth and offers valuable support for both beginners and professionals. Another thing that makes Blender powerful is regular updates and innovations. Blender's development is continuous with regular updates that introduce new features, improvement and optimizations. Notable updates such as Blender 2.8 and Blender 3.0 have brought significant enhancements to the software, keeping it at the front of the 3D technology. Now, the latest version of Blender is 4.2.1 and Blender is still growing. And yeah, that's it. And as always, until then, keep it simple.